Hmm. Hi, everybody. Jay Myers here. Welcome to another of NGen's project podcasts. And today I'm joined by Kevin Fernandes. Kevin is the president of Macrodyne. Thanks for joining, Kevin, and look forward to our discussion here.
No, thank you for
I
hosting me.
First of all, Kevin, maybe apart from that brief introduction, tell us a little bit about Macrodyne.
Yeah, absolutely. So Macrodyne is the largest hydraulic press manufacturer in North America. We make presses of all different sizes, ranging up to 30,000 tons. And we're in virtually every type of industry: aerospace, automotive, industrial, consumer goods, research, military. So we've really prided ourselves on being diversified and tackling some of the toughest projects versus going after simple, repetitive products or owning a specific niche.
I think Macrodyne is probably, if not the company with the most projects in NGen's project portfolio, you're pretty close to it. So you're involved in at least four. Give us a bit of a feel about what some of those projects are.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think we've got to be pretty close to the number one spot, if not already there. So some of the projects that we're working on, and all of them have gone really well. Uh, Definitely want to thank NGen for that, but also our partners, which we couldn't have been as successful without them. One was the project with Conrex Steel. We built the largest dishing press in North America. Fantastic project. 3,500 tons down acting, 750 tons up acting. You can drive a Ford F-150 into the press. The press is that big. And I got to say that the folks from Conrex and Source were fantastic to work with. And when you build a project of this size, literally and figuratively, the order of magnitude where you can drive a truck into the press, it takes a lot of coordination. A lot of things have to go right. And working with our partners to do that was fantastic. They knew the process, we knew the pressing technology, and it worked out very well.
So
The and
I
Sure,
think the sorry, Kevin, I was going to say I think Conrex now has the largest steel press in North America.
that's correct. For dishing, they've got the largest press in North America. And we were fortunate enough that Larry was able to coordinate Doug Ford to come in for the ribbon cutting, just to get that publicity out there. And I know they're very busy with the work that they've got from that. So it was a success on all ends.
And they're now looking at their traditional business has been pressing steel around petrochemical containers, but and round containers, but now even into shipbuilding, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, I think with the technology that they have there, they can tackle dozens of different industries. It's really just which one they want to capitalize on. So they've done a fantastic job of utilizing that press, and we were really pleased to be part of that project.
So the other application, another project is molding parts for the automotive sector, and particularly for EVs. Tell us a little bit about that one.
Yeah, we have, I think, two different projects in the automotive sector. One is with compression molding. So that's been an area of huge growth for Macrodyne. We've really, part of the reason why we're the largest is because we've got so many compression molding presses out there. And what's really happening in the industry is, unfortunately, manufacturers cannot find enough employees to run their lines. And it's really hurting production levels. And you can see, you see out there at all the automotive plants, limited quantities. You're 6 months, 8 months, sometimes out to get a new vehicle. And part of that is, if you can automate these lines, you can do two things. One is you can shore up this employment shortage. And two, equally important, you can improve quality and cycle time. So a robot is very reliable. It produces the same number of parts every hour, regardless of the conditions. And it can, with closed loop feedback, it can provide very accurate charges, very accurate trimming. You get your quality up to 99.9%, which is a fantastic place to be for an automotive supplier.
Right. So reducing cycle time, reducing scrap waste, improving quality, reducing defects.
Exactly. And for us, obviously we want to sell as many presses as possible, but it's a huge advantage to our customers when we can sell them a complete turnkey system that will have substantially more uptime. Maybe they only buy 4 presses instead of 5 because of the cells. But for them, it's much easier to win business. It's much easier to get capital approved from their executive team when they can say, well, I'm taking these 5 presses out of commission and replacing them with 4 smaller ones, or this expansion that was supposed to cost X now costs 20% less than that.
So you're mentioning about labor skill shortages in the automotive sector, and of course that's not the only sector experiencing that. And I want to come back to that in a minute. But you've got another really interesting project dealing with bioplastics. Tell us a little bit about that one too.
Yeah, absolutely. So the bioplastics project, we had to modify the scope during it, and I couldn't be happier with the project team that we've got here. So we've partnered with Ezinc, and part of what they're doing is developing stationary batteries for grid support. And initially we're looking for targeting an industry with consumable plastics, and those consumable plastics, instead of ending up in the landfill, would biodegrade. And we still have that technology developed, which is fantastic. But then looking for an application to implement, Ezinc, instead of using traditional plastics, is looking at using bioplastics to be more renewable, lower cost. So the technology that they have, instead of using virgin plastics, which are expensive, damaging to the environment, now can use plastics that are made from coffee grinds, from other biomaterials, which really helps us in this circular economy or this circular manufacturing that I think Macrodyne really wants to be a part of.
Mm. Let's pick up on that a minute, because I think it's really, really important in terms of attracting young people into the sector to show that advanced manufacturing is not just about getting product out the door. It's about solving some of these big challenges, and not only customers' problems, but some of these big social challenges we're facing too. And clearly, the bioplastics, the work you're doing with EVs. Even the work to put together smarter systems that are reducing cost, reducing cycle time, and so forth, and improving throughput, all has an impact not only in the bottom line but on environmental sustainability as well, and that's something that really shines through in your projects.
Yeah, we've been fortunate. Again, we've only tapped on a few of the projects we've done, but we're fortunate enough to work with Ballard in helping them with their press line for fuel cells, getting away from internal combustion engines to hydrogen fuel. That's very happy to be part of that project. We're working with AEM Power Systems to co-develop a gas oscillation technology for superplastic forming. It means that we can have automotive parts that are substantially lighter than they're currently made in metals like aluminum, magnesium. It means we can take that technology to aerospace and make parts that are much more complicated, up to 20 times faster, up to 3 times more elongation, which means fewer parts, fewer seams, lighter components, less consumption of materials. So in these areas, we've been really fortunate to be allowed to work with these partners. And I don't think that would have happened without being able to pull together through NGen. And then also to be able to make the world, slightly better than we've left it, right?
So let's talk about collaboration for a minute, because you've got lots of partners there in all of these projects, and collaboration is something different than sort of the traditional transactional model that maybe manufacturers have been used to, or tech companies have been used to in the past. What we're really trying to do is integrate capabilities and work together. But in your experience, how has that collaboration gone? What are the advantages of that type of model versus more of a transactional model, do you think?
I think there's a good place for subcontractor relationships. Sometimes you don't have the skill sets and you need to outsource because they're faster, they're more knowledgeable, whatever the case may be. But I think in these collaborative relationships, it's a lot more work. Definitely, it's a lot more time with your partners. It's a lot more time putting your heads together. But you do end up tapping into resources that you didn't even know existed. I would take the AEM power systems as an example, they could have just subcontracted us to manufacture this gas oscillation technology, and we could have installed it in one of our presses and sold the whole system to them or one of their customers. That'd be great. Everybody, makes money. It's fantastic. But we have a series of high-end aerospace customers: Boeing, Collins, Radius Aerospace, the United States Air Force. So now we can take this technology, and since we're part of it, we all win together. We take this technology and we introduce it to these customers. And as a partnership, we can sell technology that nobody else has, that expands both what Macrodyne does in terms of producing presses and what AEM does in terms of producing technology, modeling tools. And we win. And we probably wouldn't have done that if someone just came to us and said, hey, can you make this for us for X $100,000?
Mm. And I know, speaking to some of your partners, they were astonished that they had IP in the first place, that they could actually commercialize beyond the project itself.
Yeah, IP is a huge factor here. And a lot of times in the manufacturing space, we like to keep things as trade secrets. We like to keep things as, we don't like to necessarily patent IPs except in special circumstances. And the gas oscillation is a good example of that, or bioplastics. But what we really want to do is get really good at manufacturing something and protect it from other people. And there's lots of different ways to do it. And it's amazing as you sit down to the table and think about the IP you'll generate, you really start to realize all the IP you already have, and you just take it for granted.
Right. So one of the challenges you mentioned in auto, and I know this is right across the board, and want to ask you about this at Macrodyne too. Skill shortages, the ability to attract younger people into the industry. What are you finding? Is this a major challenge?
Yeah, you know what? There's definitely a labor shortage across the board. You hear about, especially in the healthcare system, you hear about in a variety of different industries. But I think no industry is going to have a harder time with it than manufacturing. There seems to have been a shift away from trades, a shift away from, more of a shift towards software and other high-tech areas for engineers. But the truth is, manufacturing is the core of most economies, whether it's a modern economy or developing economy. And without getting people into the trades, without getting people into manufacturing engineering, we have this problem like we have with the semiconductors. You rely on having it manufactured somewhere else. They put in policies that cut off manufacturing, and you have a complete catastrophe to your supply chain. So we, as Canadians and really as North Americans, need to reshore and secure our supply chain. And part of that is spending a lot more on the trades so that we can actually manufacture and upkeep these machines.
And as you say, there's, it is a challenge to attract young people into the sector. There's still a bit of a delusion that manufacturing is, still full of smokestack industries, hard work, hard manual labor, that it's dirty, it's dangerous, and so forth. So there are a lot of these assumptions that need to be broken down. But what are some of your key messages for young people who may be interested in coming in and working, or even those that have never thought about advanced manufacturing before?
Yeah, I think the world's problems are going to be solved through manufacturing over the next 2 to 5 decades. You can create all the software in the world, and software is amazing, and it's done some incredible things for us. We wouldn't be on this call if it wasn't for software. But global warming, waste reduction, infrastructure, these things are all manufacturing. If we don't have the roads to get to one another, if we don't have travel, if we don't have clean energy, if we don't have, if we can't divert waste from getting to the landfill, and these are all things that will be solved through manufacturing. So if you want to help change the world, you will help change the world through manufacturing. And the world's your oyster. You can pick whatever stream you want to go in: chemical, mechanical. Do you want to help with global warming and looking for alternative power sources? Do you want to help with preventing waste plastic wastes ending up in the ocean, and all these things are done through manufacturing.
No, it's a good message, and even for young people who are in IT careers or data careers, manufacturing is competing for all of that talent pool as well. So, think about advanced manufacturing there as a career choice. It's not, and I hate to say this, but not only finance and and other opportunities are going to give you some really good career opportunities.
Yeah, I completely agree. And if you look at the amount of manufacturing decline, it really shows where we're going in terms of where the jobs will be for the next generation. In a software job, they're fantastic. Again, you can create, a accounting software, and 1 million people can use it, and the incremental cost and the incremental revenue is huge. So those are very profitable companies. But when you manufacture a press, or you manufacture a car, or you manufacture just about anything, the amount of employment that's generated from that is massive. If I want to build a second press, I can't just copy a code, flip it over. I need more millwrights. I need more programmers. I need more hydraulic techs. So if you really want to create jobs for the next generation, for every skill set, doesn't matter if it's custodial work, doesn't matter if it's HR work, finance, hands-on programming, etc. Manufacturing splinters off so many jobs for every skill set, which I think is really important for our economy.
So, Kevin, just along that same theme, then, and looking at Macrodyne and as well as some of the projects that you're involved in. So you make things, you're a manufacturer. The things that you make and the way that you make them are high tech. Here, you're a technology provider, you're a technology company. But you're also a services company, because you're looking at opportunities to create new services and new value for your customers and your customers' customers. So tell me what you think, or what your definition of advanced manufacturing is, and tell us a little bit about where you think this sector is going over the next 5-10 years.
I think in today's environment, advanced manufacturing won't be defined as one specific category. Today, people who are normally stamping out 100 automotive parts an hour was thought to be very simple technology. But now you've got vision control systems, automation, you've got automatic die change systems, you have quality control systems, trimming stations, blanking stations. So even some of the most rudimentary tasks in our ability to compete with overseas costs have really ramped up most fields in manufacturing as advanced manufacturing. There are still, a few areas where we can do simple manufacturing. But if I look across the board, we do work for customers in refractory brick and pulp baling, in stretch forming and stamping, and every single one of them is pushing their capital to the limit to see how much they can produce, and also to see how much uptime they can get. And all of that requires really pushing the limits of technology.
So what's Canada's advantage here? Or is there an advantage, given that we're competing with the rest of the world for not only for customers, but for attention, for talent, for investment?
I think Canada's in a tough position. There was a study, I don't remember the source, but the last 10 years, we had the lowest growth rate in the OECD. And the next 40 years, we're predicted to have the lowest growth rate in the OECD. Now, many things can change that, so it's not to say that that is locked in stone. But one of the big reasons why Canada struggles in this area is the amount of capital we deploy is substantially lower than our competitive countries. So the United States, Germany, etc. I believe that the United States deploys about 50% more capital per capita than we do. So imagine, you build a building, you want to do some machinery, you want to put a boring mill in, and they'll put in 3, we'll put in 2. And you've got a lot of manual processes. Very difficult to compete in that standpoint. I think we need to look at more investment into CapEx And then we will really be able, because we've got some of the best universities, some of the best talent, great culture, hardworking, smart people. But in order for them to be as productive as possible, especially in this worker shortage, they need capital that they can utilize to keep up with demands, to reduce the demand on, to reduce the worker shortage, and to be productive.
I think it's a really important point. It's something that we're focusing on in terms of how do we support not only the technology is in many cases there. It's how do we support the scale up of that technology for use and practical application in manufacturing. And that's an area where it can be pretty challenging to get any sort of funding, any sort of finance. And in many cases, companies are working on primarily on their own cash flow, which is constantly under pressure.
Yeah, you hear stories, whether they're true or not, about how Intel was raised several hundreds of millions of dollars on the back of an idea, on the back of an envelope. Who knows whether that's true or not. But I can say for sure, within Canada, it is very difficult to raise capital. It is very difficult to expand, and you basically have to do that off your own back, which is fine. And we have some fantastic world-class companies here in Canada. But if we want to have an acceleration of companies that make it to the world stage, we need to be able to invest more in them, and especially into deploying capital, deploying equipment. That will really step Canada up, more so than some of the big names that you've seen that are Canadian. But that will get more of the companies to the world stage.
Mm. So let me go back to the one of the points raised right at the very beginning. Your Macrodyne is probably involved in more projects supported by NGen than any other company. You seem to be coming back for more and more there, and I know it's not just for funding here too. So tell us maybe if are there messages that you have for other NGen members that about working with NGen and what to expect.
Yeah, I would say in terms of finding a partner, look for someone that has something that you don't have. Like, really look for synergies if you're going to, this is a collaborative environment that NGen has provided. So if you're just going to find a partner who can manufacture a widget that you need, it'll be hard to get your application approved. And also, you won't really get the most out of this opportunity. Again, the gas oscillation system, we have the customers, we have the press technology. AM has the gas oscillation technology. They have the tooling design technology. So it's really good for us to collaborate and make this happen. In terms of the NGen process, I found it to be pretty straightforward, pretty easy. There's always teething pains. There's always things that could go better. But all in all, and we've worked with a variety of different government agencies for a variety of different applications. It's a very positive process. And what I'd suggest is start early. The NGen approval process was pretty quick on each of the projects we went after, but start early and work with your project manager to kind of flush out what are the things that will make your project scalable, that will make it long lasting. The NGen playbook is right there on the website. So it's easy to tell what NGen is looking for, and look for those things and explaining why your technology is worth being funded.
Kevin, in many ways, the projects you've put together are exactly what we are looking for as well. We're set up to not just to fund collaborative projects, but projects that are really transformative, that are really world leading. And I think all of the projects that you've participated in are exactly that. So listen, good luck going forward. What are the next steps for Macrodyne and taking some of these project results forward?
So we've been very fortunate, and a lot of it was hard work, but we've been very fortunate that with some of the technology we've developed on the compression molding handling, we've got a very, very large project with the largest automotive molder in North America. So that small investment of a pilot project allowed us to scale on the amount that was contributed 40x in a year. We were very fortunate on the Conrex project. the development of that press gave confidence to a customer in the specialty materials industry, and they purchased over $23 million worth of presses from us by seeing what we were capable of. And that project will likely double in size. So I think it's very important to develop technologies. It's very important to be good at what you do, but it's equally and sometimes even more important to commercialize the success. Otherwise, we're spending money for the sake of spending money.
Exactly. Well, good luck going forward. Look forward to continuing to work with you, Kevin.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Jay.
Okay. Thanks very much for joining.
Thank you.